when last we left our intrepid adventurers, now it's officially begun.
Now it's official.
It started with that beast. You opened the door and
the
beast came out.
The beast, yeah.
Oh, right.
The big giant combat John had planned out in great detail and had all these stats for. We shoved him back in the door and slammed him. There was a bit more to it than that, but
There's no way the Panadar's in here. Wham!
that was basically our conclusion, was like, oh, that's what they have in this room. That's not a Panadar.
Yeah.
Our Panadar has never tried to eat us before. So I don't think that's it. The combat started out with this big, huge, monstrous humanoid thing with shards sticking out of him, slamming open the door. Well, actually, we opened the door, technically. We were invisible at the time. We opened the door.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the invisibility thing.
And this thing, because, we rationally used one of the other Bones of the Earth that does random effects until we got a good random effect.
I don't know if that was the strategy. Although that was the strategy. It was going to be the
strategy after invisibility was off. Who was it that suggested it?
I don't remember.
I think Robin suggested it.
As soon as one person attacks, they all lose their invisibility. And of course, someone had to attack.
Yeah.
And then they were like, let's go back to the room with the rods of wonder and just do it until we get invisibility again.
There are some you die effects in there, John has mentioned. So maybe not the best strategy. But anyway, we have this monster to deal with. It bursts out. It kills one of the guards. No Jenga block was pulled for that, so I assume he had a terminal disease already.
Or this happened previously.
Yeah, in my mind, I mean, they don't know this, but in the original timeline, this guy totally got out. He was just waiting there to be let out, but it didn't happen for a few months. So some of the guards were on that day, some of them weren't on that day. Not every guard that gets killed really makes a big difference to time, but some of them will. Yeah. The original plan was, let's just step aside and let him go. But that would have pulled a lot of Jenga.
Yeah.
There was one guard there.
There were two guards.
Well, there was two guards there. One got killed instantly. He was signaling for help. And the other guard was like, oh no, this is my last day before retirement.
And that was the one we had to save for Jenga reasons. And also common human decency. I should throw that in.
Yeah.
Does someone have a Jenga detector or something?
Serendipity does. She can sense what's going on with time. So in some abstract magey way, but practically speaking, she knows how many Jenga blocks have been pulled.
And also just generally, this guy said, this is my last day before retirement. That means he probably didn't die in here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She doesn't have a Jenga sensor in the sense that she knows she can say that guy, but it's just obvious.
Yeah. So then it was the party turn. We won initiative, didn't we?
Yes, it was really close. There was a roll, and it was tied, and so we had a roll off.
Oh.
And that would have made a big difference if the Beast had won, but instead the party won.
Because the Beast was a level 21 solo.
Oh.
Now we're 19, I think. 19? Yeah. And so, it was
so you were down to about a 30% hit chance.
Yeah. Whoa. And so I missed with my thing. I went right off the bat. I tried pacifying words, which I missed. And then, let's see. How did the sequence go out? I don't remember much until the thing that sort of ended it all. Because it all happened very quickly. We had a round. Nothing was very successful in that round, as I recall. Then he had a round.
Croesus hit him and marked him.
Right.
Then Gerard hit him and turned into a wolf and back and got into the airlock. Croesus got in the airlock, and someone pushed him in the airlock too. I think it was Serendipity. So she hit him too.
Yeah.
So then he was in the airlock, Gerard was in the airlock, and Croesus was in the airlock. And he was marked. And he had also done the thing on an enemy's turn. He has an immediate interrupt where he can look at them, and then their eyes start to rot and their brain starts to rot. And that happened to Hank, and he had 20 ongoing. He was slowed. He'd taken massive damage, and anyone who ended their turn next to Hank would take 20 necrotic damage
from his emanations.
Yes,
his eye smell.
The other interesting thing that happened is Serendipity critted on her Arcana check to get monster knowledge.
Yes,
and so I said that when they were sneaking through the admin area, she'd flipped through a book and had read exactly about Specimen 6 and all the details. So I basically just read out the whole stat block, his AC, his fortitude save, how many hit points he had, all of his abilities. And so they knew everything about Specimen 6 because they'd read about it.
Right.
Which helped because they knew that his what was his worst? His
Reflex was worse.
reflex was poor, but his fortitude was fantastic. And he had an ability where, I don't think this ever ended up actually mattering, but they knew he had an ability where if you did thunder damage to him, he would take 10 ongoing thunder damage.
And he was vulnerable to thunder
Save
damage.
ends.
Basically, thunder damage really sucked for him.
And he didn't get his solo +5 when saving out of thunder damage ongoing. So, which they were like, yeah, let's do thunder damage, but then they just slammed the door on him before they.
I tried. I used Shout of Triumph.
Right. I love that one.
Yeah, so 2 of our party members and this monster are in the airlock. Now, if we close the outer door and open the inner door, then it's an hour before he can get out. But our party members are in there, so that's no good. They'll be trapped in there with him. So I used Shout of Triumph
Move your party members out.
to pull the party members out, and I tried damaging him with it, but it's a anti-fortitude thing, so it didn't hit. And then Serendipity of Engel, Star Malor, Toppler Towers, Shepherd of Souls, Striders of Time, Doom Delayer, Pig Butcherer. We'll get to that. Actually, I don't think she's officially put that in her name, though I really think she should. Anyway, she used a cinematic point to work with Mage Hand, to have Mage Hand reach to open the inner airlock door just as the outer door slams, because she needs line of effect.
Right.
So basically, she slammed the outer door, and her Mage Hand dissipated just as it was turning the knob, and clicked, the inner door opened.
Right.
So that meant the outer door was now sealed for an hour. And the monster was trapped inside, as he had been before. And now the alarms are going off, so presumably the spell blades are going to come down and deal with this guy.
Yeah, my anticipation of this encounter was going to be, you fight it for a while, then the spellblades come and help kill it, and then as soon as they're done killing it, then they try to kill you.
Yeah. And then,
But instead they slammed the door and ran away.
Heroically. Yeah. It was the best option.
It was.
It really worked out well.
I would consider it defeating the enemy too.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm free. Slam.
Yeah. I mean, pushing around the level 21 solo and getting him trapped in a room, that's still a pretty impressive thing. He was hard to hit with things. So yeah, we then ran down to the next level and left the guy who was one day from retirement still cowering there. He was like, what just happened? Yeah, as soon as
Did you tell him to avoid certain levels?
As soon as we decloaked, we were like, it's okay, sir, stand back, we'll deal with this. You know, trying to sort of cover over the fact that we made it happen in the first place.
Because as far as he's concerned, he has no idea, right?
Yeah.
The door opens, the beast comes out, his friend next to him gets killed instantly. Then suddenly all these adventurers just appear around him and start wailing on the beast, and he was just like, I'm out of here.
Good choice, sir.
Shove him back inside, slam the door, and say, you should go.
Yeah, they were like, we need to tell this guy to run away, and I was like, you don't need to tell him to run away.
So we heroically run away.
Yay.
Problem solved.
And then just ran down a level, did the usual knock out the guards, open the door, bing, bada, boom, wham, bam. And this was the one with the next room. It was one of the multi-rooms, so there's lots of rooms, and it looked like the room was just full of bones of the earth, like just bone of the earth material everywhere.
Like the floor and the walls and stuff are just coated in a layer of
Bone of the earth.
bones of the earth. There were a couple of what looked like statues of humanoid figures, again, completely encrusted in bones of the earth. And for whatever reason, the sculptor who had made these statues put them in all kinds of agonized poses of struggling.
Almost as if they were trying to pull away from the giant mass of stone carved structure.
Yeah. I'm sure it was all sorts of subtle metaphor on the part of the artist about fleeting nature of mortality and whatever, yada yada, etc. No, obviously, these bones of the earth here, there's a bone of the earth that turns other things into bones of the earth. Not good. So I pinged for Panadar, didn't find it, and then we all, amazingly, wisely, decided not to mess with the horrible things. We waited for an hour in the airlock with the door tightly closed, and then we left.
How boring.
That was amazing. The funny bit is, these rooms are in sort of random order because they shift around.
Right.
Back when we first entered the dungeon, the very first room we came to, John started describing this room and then changed his mind, said, no, wait, it's this is what you see instead, and had a different room. Very wise move on the part of the GM. Instead of giving us the room where any messing with the bones of the earth was instant death.
Because everyone was like, should we go in here? Should we not? And then I realized, wait, this is the one where you really shouldn't mess with it. Let's not have that one first.
Let's not set their expectations based on the very worst one there is. Yeah. It would have simplified our subsequent adventures if we're like, yeah, touch the wrong bone of the earth and they all die instantly. But yeah, so that one was, I guess, a slightly boring room, but it was also one of the more menacing ones because...
Yeah, so they quickly moved on. The next room was the Jacob's Ladder room.
Yes. So this one, once the description was read to me, I recognized the source material that John based this off. It hasn't been super subtle, but a lot of the stuff in here is based off of the SCP Foundation. And this is one of the more famous ones. This is based off of that thing that there's a machine that has an input hopper and these 4 settings. Coarse, standard, fine, and very fine, were they? And then you run the machine and it takes whatever's in the input hopper and outputs it refined to that standard. And so this was the magical equivalent of that machine. And there was a guard there who was very upset that once again they had sent a bunch of Class C's with no researcher with them to run test objects through this machine.
And he was really upset. They eventually got it out of them that they only do that when whatever they're sent to test is going to be dangerous. Right. So and he was like, they told me they would never do that again while I was on duty. That's it. I quit this job. I'm not working this job anymore.
Went to wait in the airlock. So he did
tell them how it worked, because he was like, when they first came, he was like, so you guys need instructions on how to use this thing? And then, so he basically told them, put the stuff that you were supposed to put by the one Jacob's Ladder. I guess I should describe. There was Jacob's Ladder. It's the thing that scientists always have, the 2 metal rods that electricity goes up. Those things. Not what's the other thing that's kind of like it?
The plasma sphere thing?
No. Tesla coil.
No, not a Tesla coil. The other kind of thing.
Got it.
And one of them was normal and was
that one's
zapping.
mine.
Sorry, you're right. I didn't drink from it yet.
Oh, yeah.
I was just grabbing it. The other was, and there was a beam in the middle between them that was made out of hammered steel planks. And then there was levers that connected the power. And there were 4 slots. And depending on how many there were 4 bones of the earth sitting on a table underneath. Depending on how many you put in, that would be the level of fineness you get. 1 is coarse, 2 is standard, 3 is fine, and 4 is very fine. That was the instructions. Yeah. You were supposed to, whatever you were given to put in there by the researchers who specifically sent them down there, you put it in there. Record the results in the logbook. It was by the side.
Yeah. So we read the logbook, and there was a ton of interesting stuff in there. The first entry was they put a short sword in as the input, just a non-magical short sword. Set to coarse, what came out the other end was an iron ingot, the raw materials, essentially. Right. Set to standard, it got, what was it, a long sword or something? Fine, they got a rapier. Very fine, they got a swirling cloud of magically animated swords that killed everyone in the room. All researchers lost. And so as you go down the list, there's all these things like, okay, coarse, it comes apart into its materials. Standard and fine are okay. Very fine, all researchers lost. Yeah. So
I guess
we noticed a definite pattern there.
I have it here. I can read it. It'll make me take a long time to eat, but that's okay. Brian can get some. Oh, you're already done.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll drink and drink and drink.
Ham sandwich. On coarse, it turned into a loaf of bread, tomato, and a dead hog. On standard, it turned into a turkey sandwich. On fine, it turned into a sandwich on long bread with ham, beef, and several unknown spiced meats, tomatoes, onions, lettuce, and tangy sauce. Very fine. The writing is blotted out.
Redacted.
There are +2 magic plate mail. On fine, turned into steel ingots and residium, on coarse. Standard turned into a robe of useful items. Fine, an amulet of force armor. And very fine, all personnel found turned to stone, exact cause unknown. They put in Eve male, age 32, on standard.
I know. Yeah, they call the Imperial citizens Nazis.
Out came, on standard, came a Zareb female, age 27. Then they put in an Eve male, age 41, on course. and out came a pile of organs. And was a note beside that one saying, "Unacceptable. This research team has been fired." They put in a poot. Do you remember the poots, the colorful slugs?
Slug things.
Out came a slug, and all researchers, or the lead researchers, were turned to dust.
This was on standard?
On course.
Oh.
They put in a mongrel folk female, age 21. Out came a high elf female, age 437. On fine. On fine, high elf female, age 437. Eve male, age 27, was put in on very fine. And immortal, ink blotted out, containment lost, all level personnel lost, severe casualties.
Yep.
There's a note, further biological testing is forbidden, -V1. They put in Kina Lim, which is one of the bones of the earth. Out came on course. They got a non-magical waystone, and Kina Lim was successfully destroyed. They put in Lim.
This thing can be destroyed waystone, or runs the earth.
On course.
Let's do this some more.
And Specimen 6 was created. All level personnel lost, severe casualties. That's the beast they just fought.
That was which one that they made?
Lim, which is 6.
Oh.
They put in the bone of the earth 6 on course. Out somehow that no one knows exactly, but Specimen 6 came out of there and everyone was dead.
Mm-hmm. So they gave up on that.
And there was hundreds of entries in the logbook, but that was just some interesting ones.
So basically, the DM has given us a free Make Magic Items Better machine, and then was
I didn't quite see it that way.
flabbergasted and surprised when we all decided to put everything we had through it.
I think
On fine.
Not very fun.
Yeah. I think I didn't anticipate it because, say the +2 magic armor turned into a row of useful items, so it may not be useful, but what I didn't anticipate is with potions, it's pretty much going to be good anyway. And then they also have a bunch of old magic items that they don't even use anymore. So they're like, well, let's just throw it in and see what happens.
Serendipity also considered running Cricket through it. Cricket was all for that.
You should really time clone Cricket first, and then throw in one of the clones.
Well, we wound up not running her through it. Though it was seriously considered, and I was okay with that.
I thought to myself, well, someone might consider it briefly, but no one's going to seriously put a person through it. They were like, they were like on the cusp of doing it.
Well, they weren't going to put a person through.
It's like putting a couch through.
Yeah. But we later sort of discussed...
I mean, it is a very utilitous couch.
But sure, but I mean, a couch with pockets is still just a couch.
Yeah.
We later discussed
Plus, it could
the
get
possibilities. And it turns out that if you put something through that is fine already, very fine, it'll come through
fine.
It'll come through unchanged. And Cricket is probably a fine or even very fine domestic at this point. She's the most valuable one in the world.
Very Fine would have definitely done something different. But if you, I think I decided afterwards, if you'd put her through on Fine, I would have given her a free level up to 21, which is 2 levels from now.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would have been it, because she's already pretty much Very Fine. She's the best domestic in the world.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then we started playing with the potions a bit, and it was amazing. Everyone at the table was all gung-ho about putting stuff through. And so I was like, and what does Croesus think? And Tim was like, oh, yeah.
Grump, grump. We shouldn't do this. Grump, grump. I'm going to stand over here. Grump.
Now, let's keep going. Because Tim was gung-ho about it. Croesus was not. But Tim made Croesus go stand in the corner while we played with the Make Everything Better mission. I was probably the most restrained one at the table. Like,
having read
we
SCP.
should really be careful with, and also the logbook, which we all had just read, which was full of doom and terror when you tried leveling things up too far. But we ran a bunch of potions through.
Oh man!
And then finally, John said, "Look, just give me a list after the adventure, and we'll sort out what happened to that."
Do you run anything through on course or Very Fine?
You just hand the character sheets over.
They ran
just
through
like everything.
Yeah.
They ran through the logbook on Fine, which
we
removed
made
all
a
the
copy of it.
blotted out ink, so they could read the redacted entries. They found out some of the things weren't so bad on Very Fine. Like the sandwich just made the most delicious thing that anyone had ever had before, and they all fought over it. And the guards came in and had to separate them, and then they all started fighting over it. And finally, they had to use a special containment to contain it.
Right. It was too delicious.
Yeah.
Why don't you just make more?
Well, that
was
what
Hank's
everyone,
opinion.
And I said, well, no, that wouldn't work out, because then what would happen? You just put through 5 sandwiches, you get a pile of the 5 most delicious sandwiches. Now everyone wants the 5 most delicious sandwiches. They'll fight over it.
Hank wanted to put through one of the bluefish because the bluefish are the most delicious fish ever. And he wanted to put through a bluefish on very fine.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, no!
And then there's, I'll put 5 bluefishes through on very fine. That's all I have left.
Yeah.
But they decided the other thing on the table was putting a healing potion through on very fine because that seemed harmless because everything, or at least it would be good because everything kind of got distilled to its purest essence on very fine. So they decided to do the healing potion first and then maybe do the bluefish second, depending on how that turned out.
Mm-hmm. But we were also very cautious, like what if it explodes into some kind of cancer monster or something, because cancer is what happens when cells get really healed and go, So we did it from the airlock with the door open just a crack and had the mage hand go and trigger the thing. And, the mage hand triggers it and we slam the inner door and then peek in afterwards to see when the dust settles. So just as we slam the door, we hear this like heavenly chorus as this thing. Because we'd done some other healing potions up to fine. And we were getting things like potions of life, which can bring back the dead if it's applied quickly enough, and stuff like that. And there were all these like, a golden flask with shimmering silver flecks, etc. like that.
That kind of reminds me of that one scene from the previous campaign where somebody like put the healing potion in the decapitated head of a character or something.
Oh right, managed to slam
that was our house rule. Even if you got killed, if you got potion jumped in one turn, you wouldn't die. And they were fighting Baylors who were decapitating. They decapitate on a crit, and so people got their head cut off. You take a healing potion, pour it in the stumps, use it like glue, slam it back on, bam, they're fine.
It only happened once, but still, it's quite memorable.
So you'd gotten potions of life. Some
neato potions of life. So we put a potion in to run it through to very fine. And just as we do that and slam the door, we hear this like heavenly choir sound, and there's like gleaming light coming through the crack. And then when we open the door again, we have to pull, 6 Jenga blocks?
It was 4.
4 Jenga blocks.
Holy.
Because everybody that had ever died in that room was now back to life in that room. There were all these researchers that were like, what's going on? And Cricket's immediate reaction was like, oh crap, we have to go kill them quickly.
I couldn't believe it. They were like, oh no, we have to pull 4 Jenga blocks.
Put the short sword in. Put the short sword in.
Cricket and Serendipity were seriously considering, is there a way we can really quickly kill these people before?
No, not considering. Advocating. We need to do this right now. Stat! We've screwed up. So at this point, our kill count on this adventure is negative by a significant margin, and that's bad.
So how many researchers came back?
About 30.
About 30.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of people in that room. They're all very confused. So we were like, oh, holy crap. And probably some of them are high level. So we just slammed the inner door and opened the outer door, and it's like, okay.
And they're locked in there for an hour.
Somebody else's problem.
Someone else's problem. We had to pull the Jenga blocks already, so it's too late. Too late to fix our grievous mistake.
I think if you'd killed them all, you would have not had to pull those 4 Jenga blocks.
But I was right.
I don't know if right. Maybe.
It would have been the right thing to do.
Is there any way to go back to that room?
Not for an hour.
Okay.
Once you trigger the time lock, it's
so Hank never got to put his 5 bluefish in.
Yeah, I wanted to. I kind of want to ask.
He told us later what it was going to be, and Hank was like, "Oh man, that was so awesome. We should have done that."
I was going to make a magical net, and you open it, and just bluefish pour out from like the elemental plane of bluefish. All the bluefish you could ever want.
A decanter of endless bluefish. Yeah. This is now Hank's biggest regret. But anyway, so
what else?
We left the room of upgrading.
What?
The room of upgrading items.
A super fine cricket would.
We never found out what that
I hadn't decided. I mean, some people thought she'd become a person, but her essence is about that the domestics are amazing or whatever, right? So I don't know. I didn't have to think about it. I mean, maybe something that's. I was thinking of like maybe some sort of like force or essence that just like if it touches you, it makes you believe that domestics are good or something like that, right? Like it just overcomes any logic or whatever.
It would have
this is the truth.
It would have been really hard to come up with something that everyone would have agreed is an upgrade.
Right.
I think
She's a bard, so maybe it would have turned into just a set of sheet music that if you play this song for someone, they will believe that domestics are amazing.
Right.
so. Anyway, we moved on, and we didn't have to worry about the upgrading people anymore situation. Into the next room. What was the next one? Was it the upgrading people room?
Let me see.
There's an upgrading people room that's coming up next.
Hell Palak, they went into the airlock, and there were these two guards in the room. In the middle, it was the big room, and in the middle was this pedestal. On it was a bone of the earth, and it was making these green bubbles.
Oh, that room.
And the guards were popping them with their swords as fast as they could. And the party walked in, they're like, "Oh, finally you're here. You were supposed to be here an hour ago. Here, take over."
Yeah. So apparently there's this bone of the earth that sits on a pedestal, blowing green bubbles that float into the air. And it's super, super important that those bubbles be popped.
Okay.
But they don't know why. They're like, we were told that the fate of the world, in fact the universe, depends on us popping these bubbles.
Right.
So get to it.
And we were like, we're not your replacements.
Like, yes you are.
and we were like, no, you get an hour rest. We'll give you that.
Yeah.
But then you're staying in here and popping more bubbles.
Right.
And they were like fun we are, but we were like, yes you are. And at the end of it all, we just sort of forced them to stay in the room.
Yeah, they went and hung out by the airlock, but at the last second, Serendipity did her thing and pushed them back into the room, and everyone ran out, slammed the door, and ran out of the airlock.
Yeah.
So no one messed around with the green bubbles.
We popped them for an hour.
Okay. But you didn't mess with them.
Nope.
Croesus had the opinion that they were idiots because this is clearly spear work. He was popping it with his spear, and it was way easier.
Oh yeah, Croesus wanted to run the those waystones he got from the trees through the very fine thing.
Yeah.
Because these things can generate waystone and close the wound. Let's make them super duper awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Croesus has gone completely flipped out the opposite now. We didn't.
Who knows what kind of bone of the earth would have come out of there?
Yeah, bad idea. So anyway, bubble popping for an hour, and then we went on to the next room, and that was the upgrade people room, right?
I'm not sure what you mean. I don't. Maybe I just remembering right. Let me just find.
This is where Serendipity potentially got a new name to add on.
Pig.
I think that was the last one.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I have a.
There was a sign up.
There was a sign. So there was I think it was a multi-room, and there was a pedestal at the back, and
Bone of the Earth on
it, and above it was a sign that said, "The penalty for making use of Xar without express permission of the very right honorable council is capital punishment."
And capital punishment was spelled in all capitals, so we knew they were serious. But, we're going to cease to exist in a little while.
Yeah.
That's
Plus, given all the stuff you've done here, it's pretty much already capital punishment at this point.
Yeah,
So it's not really a
slap
threat.
on the wrist.
You can basically do whatever you want.
So yeah, this is why the death penalty doesn't work. If I may get political for a second. Anyway.
At some point you're in too deep.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so there's
It's like the risk cap in that game.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you put the death penalty on stealing gum. Well, I've stolen gum. What's the penalty for killing the police officer that's coming for me? Not
Death
worse?
penalty? Yeah,
Okay, I'm already there. Let's try that. So yeah, we don't know what the heck this thing does, but it's super punishment for doing it, so we want it.
What was it called again?
Xar means 5.
It's 5. It's high up there. It's a powerful thing. The thing that lets you rewrite history is number 13. So yeah. So Serendipity, Vengal, Star Moratop, Tower, Shepherd, Soul, Starstone, Doom Delayer, Big Butcherer.
She starts arcanaing it.
Starts arcanaing it and triggers it in the process.
Obviously.
She realizes that it's doing something to make her smarter or something, and if she just holds on to it a little longer, it'll do its thing. So she holds on to it a little longer. And she suddenly realizes that she has perfect, completely photographic, perfect recall knowledge on how to butcher a pig. Just like process, start to finish, everything about butchering a pig.
Right.
Absolutely everything.
She is the
perfect
top
knowledge.
authority in the entire history of the universe on how to butcher a pig. With the right tools, she can just touch a pig and it'll fall apart into the choicest cuts. So yeah, she was simultaneously excited and disappointed. It was fantastic.
Yeah, because she realized what was going on, but butchering a pig is not high on her list of.
Yeah. So who went next? Because basically at this point,
everyone's like, me.
Yeah, I want to learn a useless skill.
Hank
went
next because we just did it. We ended up doing it. Everyone wanted to go, so we did it in the order that people rolled their Arcana checks. Because that was a way to differentiate.
we'd all rolled Arcana checks. So
Hank learned the Radiant Storm power, which is a Paladin 25 power. So he now has this Radiant Righteous Warrior power, and he can do it perfectly. He can use his best ability instead of charisma. He's totally can do that power.
Tiffany's probably so jealous.
Yeah, she was super jealous. She was just like, ah!
I think behind the scenes, John had written out a list.
There's a list,
and he was just going through the list as we go in order. But the list is in random.
Yeah, it's random as far as they're concerned, right? I didn't know what order they were going to go in.
Yeah.
There was a big debate whether Cricket or Gerard would go next because I think they had an equal Arcana check or something. But Cricket went first for some reason.
And I'm so glad that I did. Holy cow.
What did you get?
I learned with absolute perfect recall and just instant knowledge the names and titles of every noble in the Empire of Endless Flowers throughout its entire history.
The greatest.
I was happy with that.
Her value went up.
Yeah, I'm like, this is going to serve me very well. This is fantastic.
No other domestic can even get close to competing with you.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So then Gerard went.
Yes. And he learned the favorite foods of the V7 Council.
That was Gerard?
Yeah.
Refills for anybody here?
Oh, was it? Oh, is her second one? Gerard's second one is the one that I'm super glad I didn't get. Okay.
Yeah. So he learned that. So those are the guys who run this facility.
Yeah.
And their favorite food are bread and honey, chocolate, steak, lasagna, veal, ale, and meatballs. And
one of them is
Robin
the favorite food of ale.
Hank gets his power.
Yeah.
And I get the favorite foods. But it was free. I mean, we can't complain.
Yeah.
It was free.
It's random free stuff.
And then they convinced Croesus to touch it. He was like, I'm not touching that thing. And they're like, well, just hold on. Can you tell me something about it? He's like, I'm not touching that thing. I'm taking my hand off. But he did that for 10 seconds.
Because Tim wanted Croesus to touch it. Croesus didn't want to touch it.
He learned, he suddenly realized he knew how to turn his body into wind. So he learned the wind shape power, which...
Yeah. He didn't even want to touch it, and he got an awesome ability out of it. So then Serendipity, Van Gogh started more Topper Tower, Shepherd Soul, Strider Time, Doom Delayer, Pig Dismantler was like, well, can I go again?
Gerard was, because Gerard really wanted to go again as well.
Yeah.
So Gerard was doing it, and I was like,
I should have brought them all.
So as the effect is happening, before you have a chance to stop, you realize that it's you're feeling kind of weird from the knowledge pouring into your brain, and you don't know if you're going to be able to handle the effect of doing it a second time. And Rob was like, yeah, I do it. So it hits Gerard hard. He gets a splitting headache that gives him a -5 on all D20 rolls for the next 48 hours, and loses 4 healing surges.
Oh.
And he learns perfect knowledge of how to do the ritual that binds pain slaves.
Yep. I told Robin, never let Cricket know that you know that.
She may be forced to destroy you.
Yeah. Also super glad that Serendipity didn't get that one.
Yes. Oh boy.
Oh.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah. Well, she goes again as well. Serendipity then goes more on top of it, etc.
So she doesn't care that what happened to...
Well,
she just wants the knowledge enough.
Yeah.
She knows.
She knows it's going to be -5 on all her rolls for the rest of the adventure and beyond, because we're going to do a random hop to someplace in time and space that the DM is going to decide where it goes.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be a boring place. Anyway, yeah, she's gung-ho enough. She goes for it.
Oh, wow.
What does she get?
She learns how to use logic to overcome anything that questions her sense of self. So she gets the the epic will feat.
Yeah, it boosted her will defense by, what was it, 4 or
5, I
something?
think.
5. Yeah, it was a big boost for will defense.
Pretty big.
It was a nice thing. Yeah.
And got all the penalties. Hey, her will went up by 5 and everything else went down by 5.
Yeah. I was considering having Cricket go again, but if everyone's got -5 on everything, that's gonna really suck.
Bad.
Yeah.
Croesus wouldn't go again.
No, Croesus wouldn't go again, and Hank got a really good thing off the top, so he doesn't want to go again.
Yeah. It was mainly the people who got bad things.
Yeah.
Gerard never got a good thing.
Yeah.
He just got the favorite foods and the pain slaver.
Yeah. I mean, I got a good thing, but it's not a super practical thing for an adventurer, so that's why I was considering maybe I should go again. But
So how did that play out then? So he did his knowledge. He got all the negative penalties. Like, what did you learn? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Well, yeah, we didn't really, because I announced it, so
that's true. It was the end of the session as well, so we didn't
I don't know
go
if
into
people
detail.
know.
But yeah, we should probably discuss that next time round.
This is going to have to come up casually in conversation.
Yeah.
He'll use some term that's vaguely related to it.
I learned some kind of weird ritual. I don't think I should do it.
Yeah. I mean, just because you know something doesn't mean, you know, if you're like, I know how to use a machine gun, that doesn't mean that you feel like, I'm in a restaurant, I guess I better use it.
No, it's more like, I know how to prepare sarin nerve gas from common household items.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more worrisome.
It's not that you have to do it. It just gives you the option.
It's only...
It's now available.
It's a bad option.
That would be hilarious if Gerard actually made it.
It's
yeah, and then I would kill him.
It's the nerve gas
you wouldn't
thing.
know until he got stabbed.
I'd kill him twice.
The nerve gas thing is only weird because in real life the only way you'd know that is if you took efforts to find out, right?
Right.
Whereas in this case you just know it for free.
Yeah.
So it's not. I guess it would be odd if someone found out who didn't know that you got it from a magic artifact that gives you random knowledge.
Yes, that would be the odd thing if he didn't know that. If he didn't know that you learned it by touching a magic stone, then it would be all right. That would be not weird.
Yeah.
I'm sure the FB are going to believe you.
So yeah, I think we're at what, 9 pulled now or 10 pulled on in total?
Oh,
on the,
9 total.
9
yeah.
in total on the thing. It was starting to look pretty wobbly. I was
Yeah.
glad the session was over and it'll get reset to re-pull it because some bad decisions were made pulling blocks down at the bottom. So anyway, that was our adventure.
I wonder what happens if we don't pop the bubbles.
Huh. Strangely enough, I know how to make the best bacon now.
So, if letting the bubbles not pop destroys the world, how do they know that?
Oh no, we saved people.
Down and down, round and round, deeper and deeper. Magic bubbles and turning into air. The dead come back to life. There's a monster and we kill it. It's not a dream, so it has to be it. If it's not a dream, but this is what it is, then what's left logically, maybe I'm insane.
Okay, so we know if you put a sandwich in an ultra fine, it's awesome, and everybody fought over it and killed it. So if I put in 5 blue fish, we each get one, and it'll be the best fish in like ever. So we're gonna do that, right?
You must really like fish.
But yeah, let's do it.
But what if each of us wants all 5 of the fish?
No, we each get one. I'm gonna do it.
Hank, what if they turn into blue whales? We all die. Squishy.
Or merfolk. They could turn into merfolk.
Yeah,
They're already dead though, so it's okay.
Are you thinking fine or super fine?
Super fine.
If you guys
super fine.
have to
No.
mess with
difficult.
the ancient, evil, elvish artifacts, why don't we just put a healing potion in? That should be okay, alright?
I like it better than fish. But no, don't do it. No superfine.